The man who wears a dress and he thinks that he's a woman, he needs help. He's sick. He needs help.
How do you treat LGBTQ in Poland?
Well, it's your choice. I mean, it's a free country. Again, as I said, we are not North Korea. You can live as you want. Do not come to the kids. Do not come to the kids.
Men are called men for a reason, and many times they just have to show what they are truly capable of. Real men, that is. But today's video is one where men don't hold back from these wokies and give them a double dose of the fight back. As a little kid, I already learned not to touch other people's stuff, but this guy learned it late and the hard way. I'm sure he's currently second guessing his life choices.
Well, let's try to stay focused on one false claim at a time if we can, because we might get bogged down.
Okay.
So you actually started by saying that blocking puberty, which is chemical castration of a child.
Just one example, yeah.
Yeah, is life-saving.
It can be.
How do you know?
Because there are children who have been little that have had these interventions made.
What children? How do you know? How many children have had that done?
Me personally, I haven't met enough trans children to answer that question.
Okay.
But I know that the research exists.
You're making this statement, you're stating it as a fact in front of all these people. There must be a reason, there must be something that you encountered that led you to this rather radical conclusion that to save a child's life, you have to chemically castrate him.
Not every child. No, sir.
Okay, well that is what you just said. The drugs we give to kids, so-called puberty blockers, originally are cancer drugs used to treat prostate cancer. They're also used to chemically castrate offenders and child. Now we give them to physically healthy kids. You're saying that we need to do that or they will die.
Let's try to stay focused on one false claim at a time has got to be one of the most legendary sentences during a debate I've ever heard. They keep saying the research exists, then cite it. Where was it published? Who wrote it? Quote it.
That also plays into the systematic stuff that I was talking about, because a lot of women can't get jobs in construction.
Have you ever tried to be a concreter?
Yeah. No, but I totally would.
Okay, why aren't you?
Because I'm not educated on it.
Why don't you go and get educated on concreting?
I totally would. Like, as soon as I get things straightened out,
sure.
I want a different field. I'm tired of the medical field.
Let me tell you this, and you can disagree with me if you'd like. You wouldn't last 2 minutes as a concreter, because unfortunately...
I'd like to try to prove people wrong.
In the modern world, you can think that all you want, and that's because your life is so comfortable that you can have that strain of thought. But the fact of the matter is that I did concreting for a few months, and I didn't last. And I'm not a weak guy, but these guys are some of the hardest people you'll ever meet in your life. They are up at the crack of dawn every day, breaking their backs. You would not last a single day. You can sit here and say girl power all you'd like, you wouldn't last a day, I guarantee.
I hope she doesn't think there's an HR department in construction, cause she won't be able to survive just a day working there. I'm sure she doesn't even know what she's saying. She is just spewing words for contradiction's sake.
Why don't poor Asians commit a lot of murders?
Asian people weren't originally brought to America on purpose like black people, and they weren't already present here like natives.
Wait, so blacks murder because they were brought here 250 years ago?
No, I would like to finish.
Okay, just answer. It's very simple.
I am answering.
No, I know, but you're not really.
I am. Asian Americans predominantly immigrate here for work reasons. They come from already wealthy countries. They're already wealthy when they get here. Crime is committed primarily by poor people.
First of all, that's not true. Talk to anybody from who's Vietnamese? Anybody? Did your family come here wealthy? Yes and no.
Not wealthy, but not.
Yes or no?
They come here. Okay.
The average Vietnamese does not come here wealthy.
Apparently, she doesn't know how the railroad got built. She needs to learn her history. The Asian people were brought here as indentured servants to work on the railroad leading west. Her commitment to her ignorance is baffling. These are 26-year-old farm boys, guys. 16-year-olds versus professional female bodybuilders. Wait, it's almost like men and women are built differently. How didn't I know that?
You openly support platforms that take away trans people rights and openly do not agree with the fact that men can become women, women can become men.
So number one, that's not taking away anyone's rights. That's a recognition of reality. Also, 2 + 2 = 4 is not a reversal of anybody's rights.
There's no rights violations, just pure insanity and confusion. You cannot deprive something from that which does not exist. We can only hope that they grow up and realize how ridiculous they sounded.
Are you voting for Kamala?
I am.
Okay, what is her greatest...
Hey, free speech? Free speech?
Yeah, they have the freedom of speech to boo you. That's right.
Do I have the freedom of speech? Okay, so if I boo them, then it's an impediment of freedom of...
No, but I just gave you an open mic for 15 minutes. Let's just tell me, what is Kamala Harris's greatest accomplishment?
See, that's that question, you can't... Okay. The greatest accomplishment, that goes back to sort of establishing an extreme. I can't definitively say, oh, this is the greatest, though, absolute.
Name an accomplishment of hers.
Why is he bothering with college? His level of stupidity can't be fixed with any level of education. I think Kamal's greatest accomplishment is getting these clowns to vote for her.
You want me to dance to that or something, or? You waited in line to do that?
That's just dumb.
Should we deport gang members that are in the country illegally?
That's a tough question. What's stopping them from coming back?
Hopefully a strong border control. That's hopefully what stops them from coming back.
Just to guarantee that, especially during now when we're cutting funding for all of our government programs. Shout out Elon.
No, there's actually more people, more control down at the southern border. That's why we're experiencing a 94% reduction in illegal crossings.
Yeah, sure. I don't give a if you're here illegally or not. You're a person just like me.
You're struggling with the answer of deporting gang members. So I don't know if we're gonna find any common ground here. What's your name? And I do like your jacket, by the way.
I'm not gonna give you my name.
Don't worry about it, my guy. Have a good one, okay?
And he is in college.
The Roman Empire didn't survive because it didn't have enough strength in its diversity. It suppressed its diversity and it died. If the U.S. wants to be the Roman Empire, keep voting the way you're voting, y'all.
Yes, the Roman Empire, guys, died because diversity. There wasn't enough diversity in the Roman Empire, right? There wasn't enough diversity in the Roman. Can you show the map? Look at, this is what at the peak of the Roman Empire. Look at all those. You got Italy, you got some Libya, you got Egypt, you got Spain. You're rolling into the Middle East over there. There just wasn't enough. All of those people and all of those colors covering hundreds of thousands of miles. There was just no. That's what collapsed the Roman Empire. It was really rather just extraordinary. I should do more research on that.
Joy graduated from Harvard, correct?
African-American woman still facing institutionalized systematic racism.
I don't believe that
yes, I am.
to be true right now.
I am.
What do you want to achieve in this country that you believe you can't?
I want to be a criminal defense attorney.
Okay.
However, as we can acknowledge, there's only 5% of black lawyers in the United States at this current moment.
The number one factor that determines whether you succeed in this country is not your skin color. It is whether or not you actually put in the effort to do what you want. I think that there is far greater discrimination in this country by employers against employees on the basis of their political beliefs than there is on the basis of their race.
So we don't think that maybe only 5% put in the work to become a lawyer.
Is that we are a threat to their masculinity. They don't like us because we've rejected the masculine side and going towards our female side. Now, you can imagine, if I walked into a bathroom looking like this, and men's toilets looking like this, I'm just asking for trouble. It only takes one obnoxious idiot to dislike what I'm doing or what I'm
What if a woman did that, though?
A woman wouldn't do it. End of. So why should I? So I've just used the female toilets down at Waterloo Station. None of the women batted an eyelid when I walked in there. I've got no problem with going in the ladies' toilets. They've got no problem with me going in there. So I am not going to stop going in there. Unless one woman in that toilet turns around to me and says, could you use another toilet? In which case I'll come out and I'll wait till she's done and I'll go back in there and say, anyone else object to me using the lift?
I'm curious though, what do you think you look like? We see you, but do you see you?
My point is, you're a pussy. I want you to look at our country today that men have ran and look at how it is.
We're the strongest superpower in the world. What?
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
You know, countries are warning their people to stay away from us.
What?
Because of how we are.
Do you realize people try to come here illegally every single day to become Americans and or get to live here with diminished benefits, even if because they're not documented? Like, You do realize, like, I used
undocumented immigrants.
I used to work in immigration back in the day. I know this intimately. People literally try to sneak here under intense conditions and die a lot of the times while trying to come here. This is the best country in the world. Again, more privilege that you don't understand.
I'm an immigrant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that proves my point even more.
I didn't come here willingly.
You're here. Like.
I did not come here willingly.
Oh, okay. How'd you come here then?
I came here because they paid me to.
Yeah, send her back, bro. Yeah, man. Send her back, man.
You're talking about send her back, yet you a person of color?
I guess we're no longer getting the best and the brightest. Okay, so what's your last point? Because there's a bunch of people behind you. But
my point is,
yeah,
you're a.
Okay, great one.
Okay, go back to where you came from then. No one is forcing you to stay.
God created man to be the provider.
God
Why is it
didn't
this
create
way?
the modern social order of chivalry. That was not a creation of God. That was a creation of man.
If you look at this, like the Bible, and read the Bible and the New Testament.
I've read the Bible many times. Where should I look at the Bible for men pay for dates? Is that under, I just made that up, chapter 9? Like, where can I find that in the Bible?
You can look at husbands love your wives and wives submit to your
I'm
husbands.
sorry, are we talking about husbands and wives? Or are we talking about dating?
Yeah, you're right. There's not too much about dating in the Bible, if anything at all.
Yeah, there's not too much, is there? Because what we have is we have a societal construct for how that works, and appealing to the Bible and saying this means that men have to pay for dates. Well, where? Well, I mean, how do you even come to this conclusion? It's such a massive leap. Why should men pay for a date in modernity with women? What are they bringing to the table? Are they bringing chastity and virtue and virginity? No.
All these women ever talk about is the man being the provider. It's all down to money. They don't care about anything else. It's interesting how she completely hurried past the wives submit to your husband's part.
The wife called me a and it's incorrect for me to call her.
No, it's incorrect.
No
it's incorrect for both of you.
Oh, okay, but only I need the correction, right, sir?
Well, you are the man, and you are supposed to.
Oh, I see.
You are supposed to talk to a woman with respect.
Are Christian women supposed to be calling other Christian men?
Definitely not.
Oh, okay. Just to make sure I got this right, when there's a provocation my way, the correction must come to me, never to your wife.
Well, I'm speaking to you man to man, and I'll speak with her after.
And I'm speaking to you man to man. You need to correct your wife's attitude.
Well, watch your language again. If you are a Christian, you would watch your language.
She just called a random guy a pussy.
Okay.
He called her bad.
He's just a simp trying to act tough. Only respectful women deserve to be treated with respect. But since he didn't correct his wife, someone else had to.
I was just going to ask if you see the irony in your own propaganda in the Constitution on your brainwash tour. Having the explanations here because you don't believe the reader is smart enough to understand the language is kind of propaganda.
Well, no. So do you know who that audience is for?
For people who can't read it.
Yeah, that's a Constitution for third graders.
Yeah. Why are you handing it out to college students?
Let's test your knowledge. Don't open it up.
Right.
What is the 10th Amendment? Okay, let's get easier. What's the 4th Amendment?
Isn't that the No Quartering Act?
No, that's the 3rd Amendment. How many articles are there in the U.S. Constitution?
There's 8 articles.
7. What is Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution?
I just want to ask.
No, but I'm just saying, you came here guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
You do not know more than a 3rd grader about the U.S. Constitution.
If you don't see the article.
Yeah, I actually know it. You should keep it.
First thing, when did teaching kids the Constitution become propaganda? Second thing, a 3rd grader with the help of those pamphlets already knows more about the nation they live in compared to a typical university student. Shame. He was talking about irony while being the irony himself.
Well, I'm a little bit more educated than you think.
Let's do it. When does life begin?
I'm an atheist. Sorry, I don't talk about.
You just said you're educated on it. So when does life begin? Secular. You don't have to be a Christian. When does life begin? You can search it up right now, all you guys. When does life begin scientifically? It says fertilization. I thought you'd know that if you studied this, man. Like, come on.
When you were born, life. Yeah.
When you were born, life. So this is very important, guys. If I'm a murderer and I pregnant woman, I get charged with double homicide. But it's when you're born. He just said it's when you're born, though, right? How come? Why is that? That's a good point. I'll change your mind.
I love it when people claim they are more educated, then proceed to get schooled. She's a good example of how being educated is different from being intelligent. The way she even looks at her friend hoping to get help and getting nothing proves that they're both empty heads. Embarrassing.
It's just pure ugliness, and I see that ugliness on the inside, I see it on the outside. You know, even in the horrible circumstance where an abortion may happen, it is nothing to celebrate, and it is nothing to cheer.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
Be offended. Perfect words. These people don't need someone who would massage their ego and be all nice. They need someone who actually knows what they're doing.
If President Trump gets elected again, are we going to see mass deportations of criminal aliens in our country?
I made a promise to President Trump when he comes back, I come back, and I will run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen. Well, yes, 9 out of 10 of these millions of people are going to be ordered removed. And mark my word, they will be removed.
People answering questions truthfully and without fear is refreshing. There's a door. Don't expect a warm welcome if you climb in through a window.
Do you think that someone who's pregnant should be able to have a selective abortion because their unborn child is diagnosed with having a disability?
I mean, I believe in women's right to choose and all that, so I'm going to say yes.
If you had to guess, what percentage of people with disabilities like Down syndrome are aborted after the mother receives that diagnosis?
30%?
It's usually between 60 and 92%.
Okay, wow. But like I said, I'm a firm believer in a woman's right to choose and a woman's ability to get an abortion, so I guess I have to say that it is what it is.
Yeah, because there's also like selective abortion, like if the parents find out they're having a girl but they wanted a boy.
You know, that I'm going to say no.
But what do you think is the difference between limiting selective and disability selective?
I guess I never thought about it. You're right. You're right. I guess generally speaking, I don't think people should have abortions if they just because the baby has a disability.
Did someone say double standards?
You cannot change your biological. It's physically impossible.
I'm saying to you,
it is impossible
it's a legal reality that you can.
Can you change your biological?
We can talk about biology, and we can talk about the legality of it.
We're talking about biology, though. This thing is about sport. This is about males and females.
Well, the problem when we talk about biology is neither of us are scientists, but
you don't need to be a scientist to know male and woman.
You and I both know that it's a lot more complicated than that.
What's the complication?
It's not as simple as, for me, it's very simple. And for you, it may be very simple, but I think we're indulging an ignorance by not suggesting that there is more to it than that.
Can you become male?
I don't want to be a male.
But can you become male? Is there anything that could be done that could turn you into a male in the way that I'm male and Piers is male? Is that possible?
See, now, do you see how you've qualified your question? So you first asked me, can I become a male? And I would suggest probably yes in terms of medically. But then you said, like you and Piers, and that's where we start to get complicated.
Paula, I hoped we would have taken you a little further down your journey. I fear when you say you think you can become male, you can't because male is the sex.
I can have gender recognition, can't I? I can legally become a male.
Oh wow, she is insufferable.
What do you believe in?
Jesus Christ. I believe in heaven. I believe in the Bible. I believe in America, amongst many other things. Okay. So, does your buddy want to come up? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I can never get over this one either. What is bro thinking?
I didn't think that I was just going to be killed. I thought other things were going to happen to me as well.
So what sounds like what you're telling me right now is that you didn't only think that you were going to die, you thought you were going to be raped.
Yeah, I thought I was.
Y'all remember that one time when AOC gave a whole entire interview talking about how deeply afraid she was on that fateful day, January 6th. And she explained how her life was in danger. She felt as if she was gonna go through something worse than death itself. Well, see, that's quite strange because, you know, in order for you to feel threatened at a specific event, you would actually have to be at that event, right? I mean, in order for her life to be in danger, January 6th at the Capitol, she would have had to have been at the Capitol, right? Even woke-ass fake news ChatGPT knows that homegirl was not in the damn Capitol building on January 6th. Look at that. Look at that. Do you have no shame?
AOC needs to be arrested, honestly.
You have to be Chinese to wear this?
You don't have to. Anybody can wear.
What prompted you to make that video?
I made that video to prove anti-white ivory tower professors like the one in your studio wrong. This video and the others that I've made like it with Native Americans, with Mexicans, with the Chinese you just watched are irrefutable evidence that people like that professor are exactly wrong on cultural appropriation. I've seen people get offended by braids and say braids are a black people thing and white people can't wear braids. It's called a Dutch braid. It was from back in Nordic times, old Nordic times, with white people, with Vikings, would wear braids, yet people want to come and claim that it's some part of their culture now. No, you can't claim that something is just a part of your culture either. It's for people to share and celebrate and use so you can actually have a society that is cohesive and works together as a melting pot, not all these different groups that can't work together because everyone's so offended. The only people who are actually offended by cultural appropriation don't really have anything else of meaning going on in their lives, it seems.
You can tell the professor is not used to being opposed. Must be nice living in an echo chamber. He's a black professor with Dutch braids, and he's wearing an European-style suit. Yet he's there talking about cultural appropriation.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I knew that guy was gonna do that.
Is that guy?
It was the same guy. Guarantee it. I had that on video. I know that was.
This looks like a fun game of human bowling pins. People have to get to work or go home, but you think you can just stay in the middle of the road trying to prevent them from doing so? Who suggested to you that it was a good solution to getting heard? The road is for cars, so the cars go on the road, not people. He's exercising his rights to travel.
According to you, what is a woman? In psychology, we learned that there's like biopsychosocial layers, so I'm curious how you would define like the psychological level and the social level.
Yes, that's bullshit. So the
I guess this is the nonsense they learn in school. I hate psychobabbling, and the fact that it has replaced knowledge of everything, particularly that of history, is the dumbest result of being woke.
As far as your generalized point, which is that we are supposed to identify people by group identity, if we don't have a black female president, somehow black females have not been represented. So Barack Obama was in no way representative of black females because he's not a female.
No, he was. He was representative,
so
but
he was
that's
half
the point.
representative. How do you do the math on this? And why?
You shouldn't do the math on it completely statistically, but the fact
you shouldn't
is
do the math on it at all.
Clearly
you should treat people as individuals.
underrepresented.
You should treat people as individuals.
Well, if you don't even want Kamala Harris to attempt to create DEI initiatives in office, then there isn't even going to be a conversation about it.
I mean, I don't think there ought to be a conversation about why we ought to be represented by race or by sex. I think that we are each individual people with individual ideas, and if that person represents my ideas, I don't care what race orientation they are.
The nose ring has become the international sign of complete incompetence. She now represents the face of ignorance, and I think that dog tag fits her perfectly, cause only a dog would think this low.
This is a disgrace to do on a college campus.
Why is it a disgrace?
Do you know how many women here have been victims
And I
of the
feel for
exact
them.
same
How many
things?
men are wrongfully
Do you?
accused every
You
single
clearly
year?
don't. You clearly have no fucking idea. I have girls texting me on this campus that are victims that have seen this sign today and like are calling hotlines because of deal.
What,
and I think
because
that's
I'm saying
ridiculous.
that
None
Kavanaugh
of
is
women
wrongfully
standing up for this
accused?
campaign. This is ridiculous.
How is it my fault that I'm standing up for a
It's
wrongfully
not your
accused
fault,
man?
But I'm letting you know you're re-traumatizing victims right now. No matter like what this situation is, there are girls trying to get, and boys, okay, and men trying to get from class to class to their study hall to everything who are victims of this assault and who now feel like
Why can't she tell us the time, place, year, neighborhood, house?
Because when you
zero
experience
corroborating witnesses.
PTSD, if anyone understands trauma, I'm an advocate for victims. It is almost always that they cannot recall any of those things. That is what PTSD does to you. PTSD. And that is what happens in the military as well.
If you are traumatized by a sign, you have bigger problems than the sign. She's not an advocate of victims, she an advocate of her own feelings. Do they even know that every time a woman wrongly or false screams a rape makes it 1,000 times harder for real victims to get justice?
You work for the government now?
Yes, I do.
What did you do last week?
Went to work, file papers, and that's about it.
What did you accomplish, though, specifically? What was important that you did?
Nothing. I didn't do nothing. I worked. Went to work and did my work.
What did you accomplish for the American taxpayer, though?
Got my work done.
He just said nothing.
I worked.
What did you do at work?
You're not
Actually, I'm the taxpayer, right? I'm the taxpayer, so he does work for me.
That doesn't mean I have the right to question what he doesn't work.
Yeah.
People in the government work for us. No. That's how this country works. Yes.
Why do I have a South African that I have to report to? Why do I have to report to a South African? Right?
But you just told me you did nothing last week. What did you do at work? What did you accomplish?
I accomplished work.
These people are just ridiculous.
Because it's not your choice of what I do with my body.
So
when
I don't want to tell you what to do with your body. I'm just talking about the body inside your body.
Oh, so your hand really is inside my womb. Okay. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what you just said, different words, but that's.
Do you have anything, those slogans are really cool in an echo chamber or in a Reddit room, but in an actual conversation, I'm not saying anything about putting anything into your womb. I'm saying if there's a human being in your womb,
it's not a human being.
A human being in the embryological stage or the fetal stage of development is a human being. And if we're going to believe that human beings should be protected and loved and given equal treatment and not be just hypocrites about this whole human rights thing, we have to extend those rights to humans in the womb.
I promise you, she didn't listen to a single word he said.
People don't want to bring their children into a world that they think is going to end. We're already in the red for climate change, right? So why would you want to subject a new generation of children
Who are you saving the climate for? Who are we trying to save the climate for?
Are you trying to save the climate?
Absolutely trying to save the climate.
Really?
Yes, but I understand your point. Because if you're worried about climate change,
but we're speeding it up to the point where we can't control it.
The point of trying to stop climate change is to preserve our world for who?
Our children who want to have kids.
And if you don't have any kids, dude, how do we have a world? We don't have a civilization. I mean, Elon Musk, who's not a pro-life guy, who's one of the smartest people we all know, is one of the smartest people out there today, says this is the greatest threat to our common humanity is the fact that we are below replacement value. Replacement value is 2.1 children per every woman. America, we've been holding steady. Since COVID, we're down to 1.9, 1.8. We're at European levels of replacement value. The African American replacement value is 1.5. Demographers are saying African Americans as they exist today will not exist in decades. It's an absolute crisis that we're not replacing ourselves. If we care about saving our climate and our world, we do it because we care about our kids. So you got to have kids to live in the world.
They never hear themselves speak.
How do you plan on addressing the transgender issue in women's sports? I have 9 grandchildren, 6 of them female, all playing sports, and we are very concerned for their safety, not just on the field and the courts, but in their locker rooms as well.
It's such an easy question, and everybody in the room, and you know that answer, we're not going to let it happen. We stop it. We stop it. We absolutely stop it. You can't have it. It's a man playing in the game. I mean, physically, from a muscular state, even if it was a little bit less, maybe they do all sorts of tests and drugs and everything else. Look at what's happened in swimming. Look at the records that are being broken.
So how do you stop it? Do you go to the sports leagues? Do you go to the Olympic
You just
councils?
ban it. The president bans it. You just don't let it happen. Not a big deal.
I love that he actually answers questions and doesn't just tell people that he's from a middle-class family. Trump is a man of steel balls, and I love him for that.
Men and women are equal. Yeah, that's right. Anything a man can do, a woman can do better.
All right, cool. Equal lefts, equal rights.
How dare you?
Want some of this equality? Hold on. Don't run. But you lay there.
I'm pressing charges. Ever put your hands on a woman? Police. Men should never hit women.
I identify as a woman. How dare you assume my gender? Want some more?
Knock the tampons out your ass. Come on.
Oh! Getting flashbacks of my ex-wife. Give me back my alimony, you greedy.
Get off her. Get off her.
Hey, don't hit me in the back of the head.
Kick him in the testes. Hitting women is not okay. Yeah.
Neither is hitting men.
Get him, girl. Get him in the clinch. Come on, it's working.
I've been waiting for this all my life. Come on. I got a black belt in domestic violence. Oh, you got braces.
Oh!
a woman. Hey, time out. Good job. Now get the other girl. No. Karen, get up.
This is one of the most satisfying MMA videos I've watched. The two of them are wearing head protection and still get their ass whooped.
We're still here. People, when I got out of the car today, I saw mailmen, people with their kids. I saw people living their lives, and that's what we have to do.
Well, Whoopi, what you saw with your own eyes is pretty much impossible, because at least for the past 4 years, every single one of you on this show, including your friends in the mainstream media, you told Americans that Trump is like Hitler. You compared his supporters to Nazis. You called him a fascist, a racist, a dictator. And now that he is elected, you're telling me that Americans are going on with their lives? Like, why are you even sitting here? Joy, you said if elected, Trump will put you and Whoopi in jail for being comedians. Unfunny comedians, I should add. Maybe that should be a crime. I don't know. But all of you are sitting here and you are just fine. And that should not be the case.
This was epic. I've never seen women so speechless. Hateful people being confronted in a clear manner. At this point, he should just get up and walk off.
I don't have all the choices men have right this second.
Oh, what choices don't you have?
A lot.
What?
I can't be as condescending as you.
Well, that's because you just have not acquired this skill of knowledge, which is a prerequisite.
It's because.
But can you answer the question?
What choices do I have?
Do you not have?
If there's no man.
What choice do you not have that men have?
I cannot walk around with my shirt off. I know that's a stupid lame one, but I don't know how many.
You can walk around with your shirt off.
Okay, well,
without social outrage.
Yeah.
Well, then what choices do women not have that men have?
There's a lot. It would be hard for me to delineate them all for you.
If there's a lot, then you should name one.
Let me think of some of the things. I could probably not go work a contracting job.
Why?
Because I'm physically weaker.
That has nothing to do with the lawfare, though. You could go work as a contractor.
Okay, but
there's nothing barring you.
Her indoctrination told her she was a victim, but was light on the details. It amazes me the level of mental gymnastics they have to still be able to hold on to their Delulu attitude.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. It's kind of like the government's trying to tell the people that they can't do something.
You can do what you want to do. You just can't dictate to anyone else what they do about it. That's how human relations work.
How come you can do the same thing?
I even understand the question. I'm not doing the same thing. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm literally not forcing you to do anything. I'm telling you to leave me alone.
All what these wokies are complaining about is the fact that we are trying to control them by not letting them control us. Plain and simple, they're trying to force us to accept their way of thinking and to think the same. But can they just leave us alone?
I'm a proud he, she, they, them, whatever. I am a boyfriend to a beautiful woman. I am a girlfriend to a handsome trans man, and I am also a girlfriend to an incredibly beautiful woman. Growing up in this town, my mother always told me to love myself for who I am, not what I am not. Not all of us can be as lucky and have a supporter like that. In fact, I knew friends in school who would bring an entire change of clothes with them so they could dress the way that they felt inside and be free of persecution that they would feel at home or the sideways glances. One of the first things we learn in a healthy family is trust, and unfortunately some parents don't trust their children when they say, "This is me," and they make that decision for them. That may make the child fearful.
Okay, what is that? Bro could be dominating football or rugby, but chose to play dress up with a bad wig.
I know you're scared. I know you don't know what to do. But I've got you and I won't leave you. And I love you and I'm so sorry that you're scared. But it's okay to feel. It's safe to feel. It's safe to cry.
Alright, we get it. I don't know what to do. Clearly, you dyed your hair blue and you have hairy legs. You've no clue what to do. I'll tell you what to do. Shave your legs, get your hair back to its natural color, buy a skirt, an office casual thing. Start getting clerical work. I think you could be a secretary. Yeah, stock a shelf somewhere, work in a grocery store. Go outside as much as you can. I think sunlight really will reset 80% of these trans people.
Actually, that is the cure. Sunlight, shaved limbs, and natural hair colors.
So my thing is, I hate it when women
lied about going to the gym, but instead got BBLs. Now you have women who actually say, yeah, I got a BBL.
If y'all don't mind, I'd like to take a brief moment to acknowledge how absolutely and completely empty this young woman's eyes are. I mean, there is absolutely nothing behind those corneas. I'm sorry, maybe this is going to be insightful. Please continue.
Now you have women who actually say, yeah, I got a BBL, and you still hate them.
It's almost as if people can dislike liars and things that are unnatural at the same time. How does that equal hating yourself? Because you don't like a BBL? You hate yourself? I mean, God forbid that somebody dislikes the idea of mutilating your body in an effort to appear as something that you are not, or appear to have something that you do not have. I mean, if you like cosmetic surgery, then I mean, that's your prerogative, but do you believe people are obligated to like those decisions? Yeah, I don't really get this one. It sounds like a bunch of coke. I mean, here she says, confident people don't care what others do with their bodies. I think that's what the youngsters call gaslighting. He's insecure and he's not confident because he likes his women natural. Somebody help me understand.
People will say anything to avoid the slightest bit of accountability.
Good morning.
I quit my job.
Girl, what happened?
Because I can't take care of my basic needs and work 40 hours a week at the same time.
Let's see, we have 168 hours in the week. You were working 40. Let's say every day you sleep 8 of them. That's 56. Still leaves you about 72 hours to get your basic needs in.
It's really hard to say this out loud and put it online, but I know that I'm not the only person going through this. I've almost been fired from every job that I've ever had.
Well, it seems to be a common denominator with that.
And it's not because I'm not smart. I actually tend to overperform in the beginning. It's just that after some time, I inevitably burn out once I wake up one day and realize that I haven't taken a shower in like 3 weeks.
You lying to me? People get online and tell the world everything.
It's not just a matter of not trying hard enough or not being disciplined. If I could take care of my basic needs and work full time, I would have done that by now and then some.
What kind of jobs did you have? Was you going to space or something?
It's a form of self-sabotage. To honestly be putting so much energy into these executive functioning skills at work and not have anything left to give myself.
Miss, you should absolutely take care of yourself, but there is this little thing we like to call entitlement as well. Take action.
What do you mean you don't take a shower for 3 whole weeks? How?
But you're asking other people to give their money to the government. Why aren't you giving 70% of your income to the government? You could.
Well, I'm not on the top 1%, but I have no issue.
You don't need to be.
Well, that's the argument I'm making, right? That it's not about working class Americans or people like me who are upper income Americans. It's about really the wealthiest top 1%. Now,
but sure,
I have no issue.
Wait, you're a college
paying
professor.
Taxes.
I'm not attacking you, by the way, at all.
I pay about 30%.
But
I know you're not.
Why not pay 70%? I don't understand. Like, what's holding you back? Why not lead by example?
Tucker, you know what's holding me back? If I knew how to do that, I would have no issue doing that. But the tax code is incredibly convoluted.
No, it's totally, no, trust me, let me simplify it for you. Just write a check, pay your taxes, then figure out what you pay 30% you said, figure out what another 40% of your income.
Hypocrisy at its finest. The same rules she wants everyone else to abide by don't apply to her. Also, if she can't figure 70% of her income, then she is not qualified or smart enough to teach anyone. They are always very benevolent with other people's money.
A lot of things will be hard for you to comprehend. That's why you're in, because you can't offer value in the marketplace.
What the fuck?
Don't worry, I'm not really talking to you. I'm speaking against you as a symbol.
A symbol of what?
A symbol of a declining society where people lack values. So the point is this. If you had IQ and skills to offer to the marketplace, you can earn a good income. Being that the most valuable thing about you is something that you never earned. You didn't earn knowledge, you didn't earn skills. It's your breast that you're paid for and your butthole. So you market that to earn money, which is to say, if I took your brain and placed your brain into a man's body, you would be in poverty.
I'm just good for nothing. Yep, you caught me.
No, you are good for something. That's why you have OnlyFans. And that's my point, is that that's what you're good for.
That isn't a roast. That's a reality check. If telling the truth was a crime, this guy would be in prison for life. This is the kind of honesty we need in this world. He brutalized her respectfully.
Gender equality until it's time to shovel the snow. Shut up!
Should have had and make us a sandwich. When women say equality, it only means things that benefit them. She was gonna do it standing at the door, watching them do it? Modern-minded feminists are useless to all society. They bring zero to the table and constantly complain about everything.
Do you have a problem with independent women, Mr. Senator?
just in case you didn't know, and I think you do know, I think you watched a good amount of my content. The moniker is the saint and the sinner. And for sure, people call me the saint. You could also call me Marquette Burton. Passive aggressive is not something that I respect because I'm a masculine man. I'm aggressive, which is to say, if you want to come for me, be aggressive, be straightforward, and I will crush you. You see?
Okay, so we're gonna have. Are we gonna have a legit?
You're carrying on with the interruptions. You'll notice when you're speaking, I'm not interrupting you. I'm listening to you, and this is why you have to learn from me. The male is the natural leader. You're behaving as a child does, which is a pity that you would even have a child while behaving like a child.
From the second he started speaking, she was ready to interrupt him, listening to respond and not to understand, but he schooled her and showed her own card. She didn't know how to respond because it was the raw truth.
So, how do you say that some people don't have privilege when you basically just said that trans people aren't valid? They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay. Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
Biological, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex. So.
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society.
Okay. No, it is not in the mind. Okay, you're not a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending. Let me amend.
I said playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. Now they call it gender dysphoria. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. You're still a human being, and you're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
Okay, but you're still saying these kids should not be accepted because they don't really fit in either place. They can't just
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout.
Where's that written though? Okay.
In the name Boy Scouts.
This girl probably didn't sleep for a month after questioning him. So glad someone is standing up against all the madness happening in the world today.
So when Kamala wins and when you go into manic spirals, everything you've worked for crumbles around you, what illicit drugs are you gonna overdose on?
So if Trump wins, what are you gonna do to yourself?
I don't know, probably move to the Netherlands. I don't want to deal with them. Can you answer the question though?
Snowflake? I hope that
Answer the question, Snowflake.
I hope Trump wins. Kamala might win.
Answer the question,
Let me tell you what happens.
Coward.
So let me tell you what happens. If Kamala Harris wins, which she might, unlike you, I will not flee my country. I will go back to work the next day. And I am dedicating my life right now to make sure that doesn't happen. To register voters and to chase ballots and to rally the next generation. So unlike you, I'm a participant. And you might be right, Kamala might win. It might be too much. But I'll be able to look my daughter and my son in the eye and say I did everything I possibly could to make sure that this country remained free and prosperous for you guys and that I gave it all on the line.
Good luck with that, buddy. Kamala sweep! Kamala sweep!
This kid literally has zero masculinity, and he's opening his mouth to call someone else a snowflake. His father must be so proud of how he raised a naive little girl. Now that Trump has won, though, I wonder if he kept his words and moved out the country.
Ben Shapiro just destroyed this trans activist for children.
You have claimed that you oppose medical transitioning for these children. Called it child abuse. Is that correct?
It is. That's correct.
You consider it child abuse because you believe that a child is not capable of consenting to what you consider are irreversible procedures. Is that correct?
A damaging, irreversible procedure.
Damaging. Ben, are your children circumcised? Did you circumcise your children?
Yes, I have two sons and they're both circumcised.
Why would you do that? Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
Nope, I'm circumcised. My works just fine.
He shut that down real quick. Does he think getting top-bottom surgery is the same as getting an ear piercing? Cutting the peel and cutting the whole banana is a whole different thing.
And that is not how logic works. You can't just say that I'm willing to
tell me how logic works. Give me one rule of law of logic. Give me one law of logic. One.
It's based in fact, in truth.
What? What? Can you give me a single law of logic?
Can you?
Yes, I can
Okay,
give you all the laws. The first is the law of non-contradiction. The second is the law of excluded middle. How many would you like? Would you like to get into informal logic as well?
Yeah, go for it.
Would you like to get into the law of identity? That's the third law. What else would you like?
That's semantics at this point.
No, that's literally the opposite of semantics. Do you know what semantics are? Because that's not semantics.
Okay.
The laughing girl next to her doesn't even have a clue what words they are saying, and I'm sure she heard the words logic and semantics in her friend group, and she thought just mentioning them automatically makes her the smartest one.
A lot of people say he's black, but he has a white parent and a black parent.
He's half and half.
They want to keep the white primacy pure form, so they want to say that he's black.
I honestly haven't thought very deeply about the racial composition.
If you get a pizza from Domino's, okay?
This is probably stop.
This is relative, unlike you. Trust me.
Oh,
So
trust you? Okay.
If you get a half pepperoni and half cheese pizza, it's not a cheese pizza.
Cool. Like I said, half white, half black, half cheese, half pepperoni. What's the point? Where are you getting at?
Why is everybody laughing at me?
Okay, Missouri State starting strong, everybody. I gotta tell you. Please don't do drugs, guys.
Did he really need a phone to make a pizza reference? These Domino's ads are getting out of control. The only lesson I learned here is that it doesn't matter what toppings you get, we are all pizza.
You can prove me wrong real quick. I'm just going to ask you one question, and I already know the answer to it, but I'm hoping that you surprise me. What is it that you bring to the table for this 1%? Besides a place for him to stick his...
I give great massages.
Are you have you been trained? Are you a massage therapist?
No, it's natural.
Wait, what else do you bring to the table?
Cook, I clean, I'm fit, I would raise the kids.
Very basic shit that every woman can do.
And wait, remind me your age, you're 37, right?
36.
Oh.
You can't give him kids either. Where did you find her, Brian? You're almost 40. The biological clock is pretty much clocked out at this point. And you want a multi-millionaire, 0.1%, in an area that has the most beautiful young 20-year-old women on planet Earth. Does that summarize your position?
That laugh was diabolical. Newsflash, Guts can cook and clean too. Just goes to show none of those ladies there can bring anything to the table. There is nothing that hurts some women more than the truth.
I feel that there's so much attention being put on to this specific subject because what you guys really want underlying is the eradication of trans people and them to not be involved in any system.
No, you see there, look, but look, that's
that
it.
is the
You have
dumbest
fallen
argument I've
immediately.
ever heard in my life.
Right, it's ludicrous. Where have you got that
What
from?
a bad
Where is
representation
anything
of a
I have
trans
ever
person
said?
to speak out for others.
I'm more so referring to, I have seen certain things that you've said in other interviews, Pierce, with my friend Wassam and other trans individuals. And I just feel that the emphasis that is being put
And what was
on-
transphobic?
One more time?
What was transphobic? What have I ever said that could be remotely construed as transphobic or trans-hating or wanting to get rid of trans people? Ever. I challenge you right now. Tell me.
I haven't really directed that at you just from sitting here. I'm just here to say that I feel that the issue that's being pressed is because it's a...
You just directed it at him. What are you talking? You directed it at him.
I think that the issue that is being put on trans athletes is a way to eradicate trans people.
This is, with respect, this
Pierce,
is
can I
ridiculous.
interject for a moment?
In the 1960s and 70s, when feminists that came before me set up women's shelters, rape crisis centres, hospital wards, prison wings for women, recognising that some men, not all, but a sizable minority, are a threat to women because violence and harassment is a threat. We weren't told by men, not all of them were pleased, but largely they understood. We weren't told by men, you're trying to erase and eradicate men. But the vast majority of men understood why we needed to do this. All we're doing is saying men, and you can call them trans women if you like, but men have no place in women's prisons, domestic violence shelters, and sports.
Well, wait a second. Hang on.
Okay, Emily, you wanted to... yeah, Andrew, I'm going to come to you. Andrew, I'll come to you one moment. Just let Emily jump in on what you're about to say, I think, to Stasia.
I just think it's so infuriating because ultimately, I know many trans people and I've spoken to them about, playing in women's sports, etc. And the biggest issue they face is that they just want to be accepted. Now, if I was a trans woman and I just wanted to be accepted, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you're doing. You want to paint all of these labels on you. You want to play identity politics. You want to play the victim, but you want it to be treated as if you're any superior. That's not equality. You receiving special treatment that does not make you equal but makes you superior to others is not looking to be included. It's actually making people detest your cause. It's making people think that you are a moron. And the way that you're trying to represent the trans community as a whole by just denying that there's a threat and being delusional about it is not helping the trans people. You're making people look at you from the outside and say, wow, they are out of touch with reality.
I think that your verbiage in this statement.
That's your response.
I think that the verbiage that you use in this statement is very clear on where you stand on trans issues. I'm going to go back to my original point. You guys trying to take out trans people from sports is a way to eradicate trans people from public.
But we're not. We're
Nobody has said anything.
Like
nobody, Stasia, nobody has said that. And this is what happens, if you don't mind me saying. What happens, the way that trans activists let themselves down, in my opinion, and you can respond to this, is that you try and shut down perfectly legitimate, in fact, urgently important debate by saying that anyone who dares to question this is transphobic and wants to get rid of trans people. I don't think anyone so far on this panel has said they want to get rid of trans people or anything like it. And yet you keep saying you people all want to get rid of trans people. Why do you believe that? Where have you got that from? You cite my interviews with some of your friends, but where have I said anything remotely that could be construed as transphobic? I don't get it.
I think the verbiage that was being used, it's very clear you guys stand on all trans issues.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So what is the solution for the trans people that are playing sports? What's the solution for them? We're just supposed to kick them out all entirely?
Let me give you the solution. Let me give you the solution. The solution's very straightforward. Almost all of them competed against biological men like themselves before, but they did it far less successfully. So you either go back, trans women athletes either compete against their biological, or you create an entirely new category for trans athletes. What you don't do is allow them to destroy the integrity of women's sport, which is what is happening. So it's very straightforward how you solve this. I don't want trans people to be banned from playing sport. I just want them to be banned like I did with the dopers when they were cheating in sport. I want them to be banned from utilizing an unfair advantage. It's simple as that.
Did you guys get that? When you have no argument, just throw the word verbiage into the mix.
You can't sit on your shows and say, this guy's a fascist, he's an authoritarian, he's a dictator, he's a threat to democracy, and then give us nothing.
That's just a misrepresentation of our position. You say that we give you nothing. We're giving you specific things that he did.
You made this claim that Trump has done bad things to the media. He wants to pull their license. He wants to take something away from them.
Threatened to do those things.
Where has he done them?
So do you think that it's acceptable unless he follows through on it?
Yeah, I think that hyperbole is fine. I think that presidents use hyperbole all the time. I think that liberals use hyperbole. So for instance, when you say Trump's a fascist, I think that's hyperbole.
Would you?
Because I don't think you actually think he's a fascist. I think that you just think fascism means authoritarianism. You don't even know what that is. You don't care about it. Hang on. So I think you're actually using hyperbole when you're talking about fascism in general. So when Trump uses hyperbole, Trump bad. When you're speaking this way,
I don't think it's hyperbole. It's just frantic lies. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to use the like, comment, and subscribe button. See you in the next one.